Greetings, sentient beings. This broadcast is not intended for children. There will be strong language and adult themes.
Is that it?
Okay, are we done? We done now?
Can we go now?
Yeah, we've got no audience, so I don't see any point in making introductions.
Okay.
It says there's 8 people watching.
It's pretty typical that we don't get much of anybody watching until we're 10 or 15 minutes in. Probably mostly due to the YouTube not sending out notifications.
I got mine. It just went. It beeped as soon as you started.
Oh, okay. Andrew's in the side chat.
They'll all come flocking soon once they realise I'm here.
Oh, and Stephen Bowman.
Yay!
I see him a lot on Twitter. He usually doesn't come into the chats.
Awesome. I have my church warden pipe. I'm ready to go. I'm ready for another Terrible Kings season.
He sent us some Uper That's Sloth Girl got fascinated by the Uper lights, and he sent a couple of them.
Awesome.
There are rocks that actually have some phosphorescence in them. So yeah, if you shine a UV light on them, they glow orange.
That's awesome.
Oh, cool. I like black lights. They're so healthy for your skin.
I used to, but then I stopped listening to the Doors and taking acid. I had lava lamps and everything. So today's animation day for real?
Yeah, that was the one that came up. And
when I was a kid, I saw the movie Akira, which predicted the end of the world in 1988. Well, actually, no, there was a nuke that went off in 1988. I absolutely love animation. I'm a bit old school because I still watch a lot of the old animation movies from Japan. They call it anime, but these were people drew all frame by hand. And I think that's a skill that's not remembered because of the computer nowadays.
Yeah, Will. I don't want to piss on your cornflakes here, but I'm supposed to be the one. I'm supposed to be the one with the technical issues, but you seem like a million miles away.
Yeah, Andrew's saying it sounds like you're picking up on the wrong mic.
Oh, hold on.
You're on the wrong mic.
Okay, hold on. Give me a second.
Well, if it's animation day, why isn't Kate here?
Actually, she made a comment in the Twitter that she was just too tired for it.
Oh, God.
If you buy a lava lamp, it becomes a magma lamp. If you bury a lava lamp, sorry. I read it right, but I don't think I spoke it right.
Lava lamps were so cool when they first came out.
Yeah, very 70s thing. You still see them occasionally.
Oh, they're building them again now. They're, I won't say popular, but they're not like they used to be anyways, but people are buying them. I've seen a number of new ones. And Chad, if I'm looking off cameras because I'm watching the Packer game, it's just what you got to do if you are a stockholder.
Well, that's the one thing I respect about the Packers is they're the only team that's not owned by millionaires.
Yep. Well, although I would bet that there's a number of millionaires that have Packer stock.
Well, yeah, but
nobody's allowed to own more than one share, so we're all pretty equal.
Oh, I didn't know it was limited to one share.
Oh yeah, that's it.
But yeah, I knew it was publicly owned, so basically anybody who wanted to could get a share in it.
And my share was, oh God, if I can remember, I think it was like $113 when I bought mine, and I bought one for my nephew too at the same time. I had money in those days.
What's money?
Beats me.
I've got 12 quid left on my Amazon gifts thingamajig. Very nice of them to fuck up and refund me for something that they shouldn't. But
Can you hear me? Can you guys hear me?
You're still really quiet.
Oh, damn it. It's my microphone. Damn it. All right, give me a second.
no, you are speaking into the right one now, but you're just for quite a little bit low.
Can you hear me?
Yeah,
No.
can hear you.
We can hear you. You're just not very loud.
Oh, damn it. Give me a second.
Well, actually, it sounds okay by me. I
It sounds okay. It's not.
He's
not
okay. He's just
difficult.
not nearly as loud as Stool, or you are even.
Well, how can I be loud? What's happening?
Well, I think you're the loudest one of the group here tonight.
Good
All right,
grief.
give me a second.
Yeah, but you're not like obnoxiously loud either. You're fine.
I think he's obnoxious.
Well, yes, but not because of his volume.
Go Packers, go Packers! I think they're
However, sports Volt people are even more obnoxious. So
I ignore what you say because it's the one team that I follow in all the sports that's out there in the world. So screw you.
well, then you're not too bad about it because yeah. Again, Packers fans, I can give them a lot more latitude because you know it is still something more the sense of being sort of the hometown team. It's not just an interchangeable franchise that will jump from state to state.
And you know the other thing is when they have done various stadium expansions. This is why the shares of Packers exist, is because they didn't ask the government for money; they asked the people for money, and they said, okay, we'll give you a share of stock in exchange for some cash, so we can build an extension to the stadium.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, you're fine. Just go with it.
No, it's gonna bother the hell out of me.
No, really, well, you're fine.
You're fine. Yeah.
And
see, and I think that makes sense. I think, you know,
and so
if a sports team wants a new stadium, at bare minimum, it should be a public referendum.
well, and that's what they did with their last expansion. Is they did get some government money, but they they went to the city people and said, you know, could you put this up as a referendum to the people? And they did, and it overwhelmingly was approved. So, and I think it's already paid back.
I'm surprised they haven't moved to LA yet, like every other team.
Never. It can't happen because of their charter with the stock situation. Yep. You know, always be the Green Bay Packers or out of business.
Yeah, they would basically have to liquidate the whole thing in order to move it.
And it's just so cool with it being such a small fucking town compared to the rest of the market. You know, it's just an amazing thing.
Well, and it really isn't just the city they're from. It's more for the whole state.
Well, it's become that, but you know, it certainly wasn't like that in the beginning. You know, when Chicago and Green Bay were first playing each other, they were both, well, Chicago was a bigger city, but Green Bay was just a minuscule little bumps that happened to have a meatpacking plant with some really big, scary guys. Because you know, the people were actually from the city that they represented and stuff like that. You know,
well, see, and that's the thing that, you know, originally that's what professional sports was.
Yeah, that's 100 years.
It was going out there and it was basically sending, you know, the best guys in your city against some other city. But now these days, they all just jump around to whoever's, you know, go to the highest bidder. So instead of being gladiators, they're now all mercenaries.
Don't fool yourself. They were buying players 100 years ago.
Oh, sports have been crooked since the first guy learned they could make money off of throwing spears. Are you kidding me? Sports have been corrupt since human beings are corrupt. If you have human beings in a community, you will have a bookie there somewhere.
Yeah, well, I do my best to avoid contact with these humans.
What's a bookie?
Oh, don't ever move to LA. Don't ever move. I'm kidding.
No, I don't need a bookie because I have relatives in Vegas. They'll put money down for.
Well,
yeah.
What's that thing on your face?
What thing? Oh, my my chin strap, my beard. And this is only like 3 weeks.
What are you doing? Why are you doing that?
Winter's coming. I got to get my beard. The next Viking raid's coming on. Can't be clean shaven around here.
I thought you were going for the Klingon look there.
I am a Klingon, so Klingons are trying to look like me.
I think he's just been spending too much time out in the damp garage and there's mold growing.
No, but I actually know someone that had to move because of that. And of all places in the world, they moved to Seattle, and I still make fun of them for that.
Yeah, it's a pretty common problem around the parts I've lived in.
Not in California, so it's not rare, but it's when you have an unkept house. Because it never rains in Southern California, as the cliche goes.
Yeah, hasn't it been flooding there this week?
Yeah, we had flash floods. It was unreal. But in LA County, all of our drains are nice and clean because we have the prisoners do it for all the fire clearing and stuff. So we survived.
The LA River, isn't that the one that's all concrete that people drive cars in and all that?
Every movie that you've ever seen where they're racing in a giant concrete area, that is the LA I call it the wash, but it is the LA River.
Does that thing ever fill up?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. But it's so rare that we probably have 400,000 people living in the LA River.
When I was a kid, we had this creek that went through Little Menominee Creek, went through north of side of Milwaukee County, and it was just this little bitty creek. In some spots it was 3, 4, 5 feet across, and other spots it was maybe 10, maybe 15. Maybe a foot, maybe 2 feet deep somewhere. But for a few years there, back in the 60s, it flooded. And it really fucked up a lot of houses around it, and that kind of stuff. And so the city, county, whoever did it, decided that they should dig that taper thing like the LA River is, except it's not concrete; it's just earth. And they straightened it out to this nice rigid little gully, and everybody hated it. Because they cut down all the trees and all the bushes, and it just became this thing.
Well, ours is necessary because there's lots of hills here. And if we didn't have the wash, half of the cities here would flood every time it rained.
Well, what's neat about it is the flooding seemed to stop. The area just didn't flood anymore. Not even that creek rising to any significant degree. And Mother Nature decided to take it back and started making it curve in different spots. And trees started growing back, and shrubs started growing back, and
I love that.
I go back there 40 years later, and holy cow, it's like it's same thing that it used to be. It's really kind of neat to see what Mother Nature can do in a short period.
It's really sad here. They've torn down like all of our outdoor reserves and everything. They've torn down for more homes. And now, when I guess the bubble burst again, most people can't even afford to live here. So we have all these empty houses, ironically.
Yeah, well, that's generally everywhere. I mean, we've got a lot of homeless people, but we've got more empty houses than we have homeless people.
I still don't
It's
get
just
that.
nobody can afford them.
So true.
The capitalist system has really fucked the whole system up with this COVID. They have just absolutely destroyed our system of economics. It's
Well, the
just
the
so
system was having so many problems to begin with. The COVID just kind of crashed it faster.
Yeah,
It's exposed, but it's exposed that corporations, at least here where I live, they almost own everything.
Well, I think, it's really highlighted the wealth gap
Oh
between
yeah.
the people who have so much money that they haven't had to worry about not working for years and the people who struggle to make it week to week.
I'm rare in my neighborhood as a homeowner. I'm rare. Just in this
Yep.
track, there's a company that owns 23 homes just on my side.
Well, and the corporations have been buying up places and working more and more to keep people from owning homes that they want everybody renting, because that way they can depend on them for, being able to bill them every month.
Yeah. It's unreal. Like people always say like, "Oh, I don't know how you can afford to live in Southern California." I don't know how Southern Californians can afford to live here anymore. It's really sad.
Yeah, it's gotten to the point that working class people can't afford to live anywhere. That working 40 hours a week at $15 an hour is not enough for a one-bedroom apartment in most any city in the U.S.
That's really sad.
well, what are they going to do when landlords are going to start evicting people because they can't pay the rent? And then you're going to have millions of people on the streets all of a sudden. What are they going to do?
There's going to be no one to evict the people. This is what they don't understand, is that the system is so huge. There's going to be no one to do it. I'm anti-vaxxers, but right now half of the NYPD is not going to get vaccinated, and if they don't have it by tomorrow, they're going to fire a bunch of people. And I guarantee you, half of the police force is going to quit. And you know me, I'm like, they can all go jump in the river together.
Well, yeah, I mean,
all of them. But I'm just saying,
their whole job is supposed to be to protect the public. If they're not willing to just get a vaccination to, keep from spreading an infectious disease, they certainly have no commitment to doing their job.
They never cared, though. They never cared. If you saw the harassment that the NYPD did in Harlem during 2012, during when the George Floyd riots were going on, they never gave an F, not one moment. So they're waiting just to collect their pensions, basically. Which I think if they don't get the vax, they're not going to get it. I heard a story and I was like, you know what? I don't know. I'm not a fan of giant police unions that stomp their feet and cry like children when they're told to do their jobs. And so same thing's happening here.
I have to step away from that.
Okay.
Same thing in LA County. The sheriffs are not going to enforce the mask mandate or our COVID vaccine mandate. So what's the point of the law, No?
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. There's not much more I can say on it.
Okay, good. I can hear me.
Yeah, no.
I'm loud enough. Let me turn that down. It just makes me sick. They're not going to follow the rules and they're going to get away with it. If I did that, or if I said, "Oh, my son can't get vaccinated," they would try to put me in jail. Stool, I think
Well, that's the
buzzing.
problem is that they've got like the vaccination
not, Emma.
mandates and that, but there's nobody to enforce them. Just like the mask mandates. I mean, it was left to the retail workers to enforce them, and it's like, how is that ever going to happen?
Depending on what side of town you're on, certain people will be wearing masks and certain people will not be wearing masks. It's the strangest thing around here. So if you go to the more bougie side of town, people are not wearing masks at all.
Yeah, well, we've even got signs on every door to the building that people are required to wear masks, and it's less than half of the people who pay any attention to it.
I agree with Sloth Girl, and this is what's making me so angry. In any other situation, if anyone refused to do their job, they would lose their job. But because law enforcement is held on this unreal pedestal, they can pretty much make their own laws and do whatever they want, and it's complete bullshit. If I acted the way that they did it, my job, even being a part of the ownership, I would get pushed out and told, okay, sit at home. Don't come to work. And you're not going to get paid. I don't know. It's a funny situation.
As far as what Aunt Jura was saying there about unhoused, or they're coming up with new terms for homeless. And I think that's just because people don't like the idea that there's homeless people in their city and don't want to acknowledge that this happens to anyone for any reason other than them being lazy.
Come to Los Angeles. It's unavoidable. There's homeless people everywhere.
Well, of course it's unavoidable. Nobody would choose to live like that.
No, but what I'm saying is you couldn't deny it if you walked through somewhere like Los Angeles.
They have opened up one of the city parks here to let the people pitch tents and live there because they're homeless.
Well, you were asking what was going to happen when they start evicting everybody. There's your answer. Because the evictions have been going on already. So rather than deal with the actual problem, they're just going to do some temporary little gesture like that.
But
and then in a couple of months, the people living around the parks will be complaining. So then they'll start getting the people out of the park.
No, they've been there for almost a year now.
Yeah, but like in a place like MacArthur Park, they were living there for almost a year and a half, and then unannounced, they sent like 300 LAPD at once to evict everybody at the park. And it's not just in LA where they're doing it.
Was it officially sanctioned?
Yeah.
To live there? It was.
They were fighting in court and everything, and eventually their days ran out.
Yep.
It's gonna. I don't know. I'm tired of all the doom and gloom and people saying, "Oh, I live in Trump country, so I hear this constant whining of, "Oh, they're coming for our guns and they're gonna do this and that," and no one has come for anything.
Well, they've been saying they're going to come for our guns since since Clinton was in office.
Where is my iPhone 4? In this
iPhone, Clinton, they were saying that back in Carter's days. Jeez.
In this phone, I have a meme that says they're waiting for Obama to come for my guns, and it's a skeleton, and it's literally from eons ago.
The other thing that everybody keeps just believing the Republicans' lies about. Well, we're going to cut your taxes,
Yeah.
and they never do. They do cut taxes, but it's the taxes for the rich fucks. Everybody on the bottom gets screwed once again. But then they get placated because maybe if there's a budget surplus in the state, we'll send you $200 or $300. Here you go.
So
have 85 cents a day.
So Trump and George Bush, they both hooked me up. That doesn't mean that I'm a fan of either one. I got massive money back from George Bush, and Trump gave a tax break to people, homeowners that had value when their home was over a certain value. doesn't mean I like the guy at all in any way, shape, or form. And no, I didn't take it because those people have to pay it back.
This game is coming down to the wire. It's 24-21 Packers, fourth quarter, 49 seconds, and Arizona's on about the 25-yard line.
Thank you, Jenny. Meanwhile, in Los Angeles, the Los Angeles Kings are playing the Winnipeg Jets, and it's 1-1 in the second. Back to you, Purple. That's how I felt last week when the Dodgers were winning. And you know, I want to say something really quick about sports ball. You know, the Dodgers do not pay my rent. So I didn't cry, but I'm not watching the World Series because my team's not in it. And yes, I am petty enough to admit that. I'm not an Atlanta Braves fan.
I'm not watching it. I have no desire to watch the Braves or Houston.
Yesterday, I took Isaiah and my mother out to eat because I did not feel like cooking. And I go out. My mom lives by herself, so we go visit her often. We went to Chili's. We got sat in the bar. I literally turned my back. King scored to the television because I did not want to watch the World Series, and there were adults looking at me like, this guy's serious. This guy is serious.
I don't want to watch the World Series this year because Houston last year was, they were caught red-handed reading signs, and admitted it, and that's a major religious failure in baseball against the rules. And
Jenny,
the damn Braves fans are still those racist assholes that are out there doing this tomahawk chop thing.
You know what's so funny, Mage? I feel so sorry for you. I watched the television on mute in general. I was so shocked to see the cell phones going like this. I haven't watched Braves baseball since I was a child. I was shocked to see that they still do the chant.
Yeah, it just makes me livid.
I live in a like I said, in a total red area, and they changed the name of our local high school. You know, it is no longer the Indians. So I don't know. It's one of those crazy things. And you are right. Cheating. I think the entire Astros organization should have been shut down, but they cheated against the Dodgers. So you know that yeah. I'm like, kick them all out, kick them out of the country. They should all be deported, even if they're from here. Like, I'm heartless when it comes to but as somebody who like has a contractor's license, it ticks me off when people get caught doing crazy things without one, because people like me have to pay for it. So when someone cheats, it's the people who are actually doing it the right way who always pay for it. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying.
Oh my God. What happened?
Oh, don't make me change the channel.
12 seconds. Well,
Perp, are you
replay?
Are you
it out here?
Are you pro? Are you
pro?
An
intercepted in the.
Are you pro cheating? Oh, I started. That was awesome.
Arizona, 12 seconds left. All we gotta do is kneel. Oh, how cool.
Oh, and he was waving by too. That's mean.
Huh?
He was waving by too.
I'm happy. This is good.
Like I said, I lived in both places, so boo to both. Yay, Junie.
Oh, hey, Junie.
Seriously, are you awake, Stool?
Yeah, listen. You stupid person inside chat. I'm listening to these idiots talking about the game thing with the balls, whatever it is they're doing.
Real
well, they're not even proper balls. I mean, if they actually used a round sphere would be one thing, but they used this weird squished looking elliptoid.
Yeah.
America, we
what
name
is the
things.
point?
We name
can't
things.
Deal with the complexity of it.
Oh, King scored. In America, we name things, and just say thou shalt be called football. Manifest destiny, and then a bald eagle flies over.
There's football and there's the good football, and that's what we have.
Well, Jenny, when we have soccer games in LA, 100,000 people show up.
Yeah, I know. And soccer takes a lot of talent to do, and it's still the most boring damn thing I've ever seen. It's just
I'm obsessed with hockey, so it's basically hockey on grass.
Yeah, but at least it moves fast.
Oh, hockey, man, it's been one of the most violent seasons ever this year. This is the most violent that I've seen since the 80s. They're letting them fight this year.
Yeah, hockey is a question of how many people will die this year.
No, there's a lot of angst. Like, I see it on the streets. People are pinned up. People are ready to fight. And hockey is no different than society. It's a bunch of people who've just been hitting the weights at home, talking trash to each other on Instagram and Facebook.
10 big men on sharp steel blades with sticks.
Actually, Sloth Girl has it right now. I do remember the history of the football, that it had been an inflated pig's bladder. So basically, yeah, what they're playing with is an artificial pig's bladder.
Really?
So as someone who has a real bagpipe,
that's why the ball is not round.
I bet that ball stunk so bad. I own a real bagpipe. If you ever have the fortune or happenstance to be around a bagpipe, sniff the skin around the bladder.
No.
It is.
No.
I own a bag. It is the word. That's why bagpipes are personal. Oh, I bet that stunk.
Okay.
I've made sausage. I know what all the pigs inside smell like.
Talking of sausage, I'm going to have to take the cable out of my underpants because I'm actually getting an electric shock now. Oh, in a way, it was kind of nice, but
that's okay. Your tolerance isn't that high. That's what
Sloth Girl says. I came from Blackhawks country. We went to a fight and a hockey game broke out.
Yeah, damn right. They were trying to crack down for a while, and then the people flat out said, like, let them play. And it just seems like this generation is bringing it back to how it was in the 80s. But sports in general, like they used to scrap in basketball all the time in the 80s and baseball.
Well, American football has had to tighten up some of the rules and things like that because they started just having a horrible PR problem with things, and how they're cheating retired players and lying and stuff about the brain damage and stuff.
Yeah, well, that's been the big thing, that football, they've had to try and tone down the violence because there's been so much going on about the head injuries.
So CTE is real.
Yeah.
My sister's ex-husband used to play for the Raiders. He's a complete degenerate a-hole. And if I ever see him, it's going to be my short ass getting in a fist fight with some dude who's literally 7'6". But no, I'm sorry, 6'7". Sorry, that's dyslexia.
7'6".
6. That's like Shaquille O'Neal. He's 6'7". But he has real CTE, and at a certain age, he went crazy. He literally just went crazy, became violent. Yeah. He his whole brain chemistry changed. He started like, he lives up north. They have the best weed in the world. That stuff will start talking to you if you smoke too much of it. Like he started hanging out with the wrong crowd. He tried to relive his 20s again because, like somebody in prison, he gave his entire 20s to college, to the NFL, and then had nothing to show for it by the time he was my age now. And in his 50s, he's a total has-been now. And now he's somebody with a disability from getting hit in his head, literally giving his body to these people. And they're settling a lawsuit right now, actually. So they are paying out former players. But they're putting a stipulation on that, too. Like, you have to have played a certain amount of years. Well,
a big part of the focus hasn't been so much on the professional players, but just on the college and especially, the high school players, that what kind of thing are we setting the kids up for that they're trying so hard so that they can get into the league?
I'm not trying to go full Al Bundy on you, but I played high school football and there were kids doing roids back then. Imagine how much they were destroying their body.
What are roids?
Steroids.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, even in high school sports,
and not one went to the NFL. Not one of them. One I know, but he didn't do steroids.
There's going to be a couple guys with some lifelong brain damage out of this game. There was a collision. It was a kickoff, and some Arizona guy gets it and starts running top speed, and he came into contact head on with a Packer, and they stopped dead, and both dropped over.
I love bagpipes, Mage. I love bagpipes. I actually learned how to play properly.
You know what they should do? They should put those impact recorders in the players' helmets.
Well, in the NFL, they're too busy putting microphones and everything else so you can talk to your coach so they can feed you plays and stuff.
Yeah.
We do have the technology to do that. Like right now, even in hockey and all these sports, they're wearing state-of-the-art helmets.
Mm-hmm.
Especially football.
Well, I mean, short-range microphones and that's old stuff. They could have done that decades ago.
But now a quarterback will have his entire helmet is wired. So he can hear everything that the coach is saying,
Yep.
It's the old classic when they put their hands over the holes in their helmet is because they're listening to the coach.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's really not any different than having a set of Bluetooth earbuds.
Aren't they required to turn that sound off a certain number of seconds before the play begins or something like that?
I don't think that they honor that at all. I could be wrong, but I don't think they honor that at all. I could be wrong. But again, they cheat so much in the NFL.
No,
I would
not the NFL except for that Patriot guy, Bill Belichick.
And if you think he's the only one, when someone like that gets caught, that means everyone's doing it. Because he's doing it because he knows the other guy's doing it, Sports are funny that way.
Sports are a pointless waste of money. That's all.
No, they're not.
See, but that's why I'll tell you, with Isaiah having his sound issues, I used to have season tickets to the Kings, and he can't go to the Staples Center because of how unbelievably loud it is. I used to drink. I would walk in there and like my ears would be ringing all night by the time I left. Never thought of it, but I don't have autism like my son does. So it has saved me thousands and thousands of dollars from the past 6 seasons that I have not had season tickets.
Yeah, well, in retrospect, I'm sure that's been part of it for me all along, that, I didn't get the diagnosis for the autism until I was in my 40s, but clearly something I've had all my life, and I was definitely aware of issues with loud noises, so loud noises and crowds are something I've always avoided.
And it saved me a ton of money, and it honestly showed me what's important, because I would always go to these sporting events because it's just something that I did my entire life. It was kind of like when people say, oh, I just go to church, like I would just go to the stadium because it was always a fun place to be. But when Isaiah was like, no, I can't do this, I saved thousands of dollars by switching to Geico. Back to you, Jenny. I'd rather watch
Yeah.
it on TV anyways, because I could smoke. I could get up and go to the bathroom 15 times. You can't smoke.
Isn't that something? How they will ban smoking in an outdoor arena? Of course, there's only one left. No, two left, three.
I'm old enough to remember when you could smoke at Dodger Stadium. They had in the way back on both left and right field, they had like a cage. It was the cage of shame.
Oh, I can remember smoking in any seat you happen to go to at Milwaukee County Stadium.
Oh. When did they take ashtrays out of planes? Do they still have ashtrays on plane seats? Like,
I don't think so.
Back in the day when I started flying, they had ashtrays, and it wasn't until you got to certain cities where people light up. Because you couldn't smoke in LA, but you could smoke in Utah, or you could smoke in Colorado.
Yeah, well, now the whole world is pretty much not non-smoking. In fact, one of my favorite songs is by this Irish band. It's called "The Night I Punched Russell Crowe in the Head," and it's a story about a guy punching Russell Crowe in the head for smoking in a bar.
Legend. That guy's a legend, is what that person is. That's hilarious.
I don't. Yeah, it is, and the song is kind of a comedic sort of song. What was it? How was long ago? The night that I came closest to being dead was the night I punched Russell Crowe in the head.
Did he have like 15? I have so many questions now.
Okay, YouTube Gaelic Storm, Russell Crowe, and you'll find it.
Awesome. I'm a YouTube junkie. I'll save it for later. It popped right up. Oh, that's funny. The night I punched Russell Crowe.
It's if you're have any little bit of interest in Gaelic music, they're a real good band to listen to. Their lyrics are very clear, so you can hear the story, and they're not doing all these lamenting ballads and stuff like this. It's all good, fun bar music kind of stuff, and they're an enjoyable group.
Oh, for fuck's sake! Fuck off.
What?
What's that, Stool?
Oh, Jesus fuck! I hate those. You know those prove you're not a bot things, where you get the pictures.
I call that brain failure because I can never get it right.
Well, you can't see half of the pictures, and the question is always in American, and I don't know what this thing is that you're asking me to observe.
What is it asking you for?
This one was a weird one. This was a different kind of thing, but this one was spot the ladybug. Well, they're not called ladybugs. That's an American thing.
Well, maybe you should learn the correct name then.
Just fuck off with this nonsense.
They're not ladybugs here either. That's what people call them, but they're not. Ladybug was a name given to this little beetle with a red back that had two dots on it, one on each split wing. And they seem to have like gone extinct. And this Japanese beetle took over that's orange and has multiple numbers of spots in random positions, whereas ladybugs was always two in the same spot. And
yeah, the North American ones they're not extinct, but they've been greatly driven down by the Asian ones.
I was about to say, I've seen both. But now that you say something, I haven't seen much of anything because our water table is so low. Like all the bugs and spiders and rabbits and everything, they're just not around because we don't have water here.
Yeah. Well, the Asian ladybugs were brought into the U.S. in the 70s because they were supposed to be better pest control.
for aphids, I think.
Yeah, well, aphids and a couple of other small pests. So yeah, they were supposed to, help protect the crops.
I've seen a larva just by accident. I saw a larva of what those ladybugs are. They look like this prehistoric little monster. They got little jaws and the segmented body and lots of scaly looking things and pointy stuff. And
that's like ants. If you see like an up close of an ant, they look like a Roswell gray kind of a brown one.
Yeah, ants would be really scary if they were big.
So I know I said this earlier and Jenny was shocked. I actually went to college. And at good old Arizona State University, Peyote University, they had this really weird study in a class I was in where they put people in a situation where they walked in a room and they saw a 9-foot alien. And they wanted to see genuine reactions of people. The average person would either go into full shock and pee on themselves or run in the opposite direction to see something like an ominous, like giant animal. Well, not animal, giant.
Yeah, that's it.
Gray.
Look at them. Look at that thing.
Yeah, they're pretty weird. House I lived in Maple Lake, we wound up having those in the house all the time, basically because these things were like laying all their eggs in the walls of the house. So as soon as there was enough sunlight on the wall for it to heat up, and they'd hatch out.
Oh yay!
We didn't have an invasion of them this year. They just didn't show up this year. But there's been years where you have a window and the whole window is covered with those things.
Oh yeah, I've seen places where just the entire wall of a house was just covered with like 100,000 of them.
And they stain. If you squash them, they stain the wall.
Yeah, the Asian ones stain and they smell horrible if you squash them.
Do they yell like crickets?
No, I didn't know crickets yelled.
My house is infested with crickets. I don't think they're majestic. I don't think they're beautiful. I think they're just like, hey, hey, hey. That's all I hear. They're just yelling.
Yeah,
I hate crickets.
I love crickets. I'm a big cricket fan.
I wish I could send them all to you.
I just want
It
one.
says there's about 5,000 species of ladybugs. I didn't know there were quite that many, but I knew all of the different spot patterns, that each spot pattern was a different species.
I've had lizards come into this house and grow to be like 2 or 3 feet long because they're eating crickets. And they can live here. Lizards take care of themselves.
No, they don't. Well, they don't frighten me either. But
yep,
I wouldn't want one climbing into bed with me at night.
They're more, at least the California version. They're more scared of human beings.
Stool, we got a question about where your moniker came from.
Back in the day, it was Twitter, because I'd always used the same name for everything for like a very, very long time, for decades. But it was when Trump did his thing about being a very stable genius, and I set up an account on Twitter because I wanted to take the piss out of Ivanka Trump, because she's a moron. But I got bored with it and set one up called A Very Stable Milking Stool. And apart from that, I've no idea. Just kind of happened. But it is the sexiest name out there, you've got to admit.
Well, it's unique, so people remember who you are.
And a 3-legged stool by nature is very stable. I mean, it's
Exactly.
3 legs is the most stable on any flat surface.
Mm-hmm.
Because if the surface is not completely flat, any other number of legs will wobble.
Oh, I miss my tripod now. Oh God. Carry on.
I miss my tripod too. It was destroyed during that radio broadcast back in the 30s.
You know, Jenny would love my tripod.
I miss my tripod too. It's in storage in Milwaukee.
Mine is extremely big and extremely heavy, and the legs,
Go ahead.
Sorry, and the legs and the head. I bought it about 10 years ago. The legs and the head. It was secondhand off eBay, and it cost me about £1,000, about £1,000 secondhand, because it's serious fucking kit. But that's another thing that I've lost.
I miss my tripod. It's 100% carbon fiber and light is all get out, but it's got this stance. It's the type with the 3 legs, or the 3 sticks per leg. You know, where you got 2 of them and then one comes down in the middle, so they're extra stable. And it's got this beautiful Manfrotto fluid head.
Oh, you'd love my head, Jenny. That's the most that's the most expensive part of my tripod, because it's a professional broadcast fucking tripod, and it is. And my camera was like about.
I
can't remember
a deal on this thing. It was on eBay. It was being sold by an authorized seller, and somebody had mislabeled the item, and I just by chance came across it.
Yep.
And I watched it for a couple of days, and nobody's bidding on it. And I'm going, oh my God, you know, they got this no open bid going on, and nobody's touched it. And at the last minute, I threw on a $250 bid, and I got this $2,300 tripod for $250.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yep. Well, that's the way you find deals on eBay, that, you know, you have to spend time on there. But if you find things that they've got misspellings or bad descriptions.
Yeah. The seller begged me to take $500, you know, double my bid, to you know, to not do it. And I said, you know, they knew that they were bound to it, and they said, we will honor the deal. I said, but would you consider doing this for us, because this was such a horrible mistake for us? And I said, that's very nice of you to be so open and honest about that. No, send me the tripod.
Yeah.
Do you know, back in the day, Amazon was like that. I half of my Star Trek collection I got for $1 on Amazon. Now those same books are $25 each.
Well, the other tactic that I used to use on eBay, I haven't done shopping on there much for a couple of years, but I got a lot of like loose Lego and stuff by going and looking for things that ended between midnight and 4 a.m.
Yeah.
The wonderful thing, I'm not going to shut up now about my head, because my camera was big and heavy. I don't know what it would be in American, but it's probably about 15 kilos. So like that fucking big.
What was it?
So fuck off heavy lens on the front, big fuck off shit on the back, batteries and what have you. But on the head, obviously, if you pan down, all that center of gravity moves, and it should go and tilt over. But it doesn't on a professional one. You can move it with your little finger.
Yep.
Like that, and it's smooth as silk. Beautiful, absolutely beautiful.
Fluid head spring loaded. You let go of it, and it, you know, it doesn't drop at all. It just
doesn't move. No, you can. It can be tilt completely, pan totally down, and it will just stay where you left it with nothing. No tightening of anything. It would just naturally stay there.
But you have to be careful, because if you play with the head too much, all the fluid spurts out.
What I liked about mine is that I had bought the half ball head, or center post. So you level the tripod with, you know, the leg length, and then you can fine tune it down to precision because you can loosen the center post, and it's a ball, so it can, you know, go in all 360 degrees everywhere, and you can center it perfectly. And so even if you're on a hill like this, you can still pan and have a perfectly flat shot with no.
Yeah.
So Pale Blue Mama,
my tripod now.
Pale Blue Mama just reminded me of something right now.
Hey, Amanda.
I made this, and because I have a giant head, I was almost embarrassed to say how big my head was. And on my new video that's out now, go to the Godless Sewing channel and watch it when this is over. But look at this beauty. Look at this. Do you see this? It's my fuzzy hat. I was going Russian. I might put a commie patch on it, but it's so warm. I love this stupid thing.
That looks great with the beard.
You live in California. What do you need a warm hat for?
Well, we go to the mountain to pretend like we're into snow sports, just to go, smoke weed, drink beer, and chit chat with our fellow Californians, and pretend like we have culture and we just don't sit in our house all day.
That's not a good look. You look like some creepy Russian pervert dude.
Oh, hold on. Speaking of which, so that I made that one with the right spec. So kids really can hold on. Let's have a talk real quick. When on the instructions it says, hey, you should do it this and this way. Hey kids, sometimes you should follow the instructions, not all the time, because then you end up looking like this. I like it. You see, I made this one way too big. I'll take it all day long. Rah, rah, Rasputin as the song. I love that song. Rah, rah, Rasputin. I'm not even saying it properly. I love that song. So always follow the instructions sometimes, because if not, you have a big giant hat. Oh.
Stool, we need to check in on your potatoes.
Mm-hmm. Well, I lost my favorite one, and so I had to borrow another one this evening for my rice. If I just borrow one every now and again, they don't notice.
Potatoes and rice?
Yeah. Oh, my cooking skills are so amazing. You'd love the things that I've been creating with my with my 25-kilo bag of fucking rice.
Jasmine, basmati, what kind?
I've no idea.
Sticky?
It's in my wardrobe. It's in my wardrobe. All I know is that it's going to take me about a year to get through it.
Well, at least you know you won't starve. Although you get bloody sick of rice after a while, huh?
2/3 of the world is starving and has all the rice that they need. You know, that's why they started GMOing that rice with vitamin A, because so many people are eating their fill with rice and still being undernourished.
So, really quick, Junie, it is meant to be full at the base, but when I made the bigger one, I just wasn't following the instructions, and I thought because I know how to sew, I thought I knew what I was doing, but sometimes you just have to go by the instructions. And I lived off of rice to the point where that and ramen, sometimes it makes me physically ill because I ate so much of it in my 20s.
I'm not getting sick of it, and I was never really a huge fan of rice because I find it very bland and boring. But as long as I can acquire some bits and pieces to add to it, especially
rice on its own is boring, but if you can find some pieces to dress it up a bit.
As long as I can find some spicy hotness to add to it, then I'm good. And I've got to say, this is gorgeous. It really is.
Good quality rice is amazing. I love the wild rice that we get around here. It's just spectacular.
Yeah, the wild rice is a different animal altogether, though.
Yeah. Oh, now you're making me hungry. No,
I like mixing it. You start a pot of wild rice, and about halfway through, you throw in some brown rice, and do a 50-50 mix.
Because
keep the cost down.
One good thing is because the people who tend to come here and then leave, they tend to be student types from far off lands. So firstly, they're poor. Secondly, they're from far off lands, and they tend to leave lots of rice when they go. So,
what kind of place are you living in, Stool? You've never actually described it in a couple paragraphs on Twitter. I'm just real curious, just what kind of place it is, kind of building, that sort of thing.
Well, what I'll do, Because when I arrived here, whenever it was, about 2 or 3 months ago, I was very confused because I knew where I was in the real world because I'm slap bang in the town centre. But at the same time, nobody knows this place exists, which is weird. And so when I woke up after the first night, I got Google Maps out and located myself, and then switched into satellite view and had a look where I was. And it's hidden away. Nobody would ever find it, even though it's in the middle of a busy, thriving town centre. And I've been looking at the history of this little area that's in town. And so the buildings are very, very old. It's hundreds of years. And if you imagine a square of let's say, shops, and on the outside of that square, the shops are facing outwards, and everybody's familiar with those shops. But inside of that square, nobody ever gets to see. So that's where the part of this building I'm in is. So it's part of a shop that's facing out to the front, but it's behind. Nobody would ever see it. And I'm guessing that in the olden days, it would have been slums. So when they cleared all the slums to make way for the building of the new town hall, they just kept this little square and built niceness around it. And so I took screenshots from Google Earth, which I did post, and I'll send you a link because it's bloody fascinating. Really.
I thought you were living in Diagon Alley.
I like to think of it as being a Doctor Who episode, and that I've landed in the TARDIS in Victorian England because, my TARDIS has landed in a dark alley because that's what you have to go down to get here. And as I walk down the dark alley, I open a door and bam, I'm in the middle of Victorian England, busy, thousands of people, but they'll never find my TARDIS.
How did you find the place?
The guy in the corner shop where I used to live, I didn't live in the corner shop, but the guy in the corner shop around the corner from where I used to live got sick of me sleeping on his stockroom floor for 2 days. So he got one of his friends to take me away. It's all very embarrassing.
It shouldn't be.
Yeah, don't be. Everybody, I don't know about Will, but everybody here has been homeless.
Yeah, at least you got a place to live.
I was homeless throughout my entire 20s. Off and on, what they called habitually homeless.
I was homeless until I got the place where I am now. So
that's why I brag about getting my shit together so much, because I know what it is like to be legitimately down and out. Because I was, and honestly, in those 10 years, I didn't think my life was ever going to improve, because year after year, something would happen, or I'd meet a crappy person or someone, life happens.
Yeah, I've been, I had 2 periods in my life that I was homeless for a couple of months each time. And I had one period that we had 3 adults and a child in a 1-bedroom apartment, because it was only by scraping all of our stuff together that we could even afford that.
And I like, although I have had help from my parents, like I was on my own from the time I was 17 until my son was born, basically. So I struggled for many years, many years. So that's why I try not to. That's why I do talk shit, because I know how it is, and it makes me cocky, because I'll be like, oh, I've been there and blah blah blah. But like sometimes I forget how hardcore it was. I've slept outside where it was 35 degrees, and I'd wake up and I couldn't feel my feet, and I had to give myself a second before I could even stand up because my feet were frozen. I remind myself of that all the time, you know, because it's easy to get cocky when you get any win. Like even if you get 50 cents ahead, it's easy to forget the struggles and how you got there, you know.
Yep. Yeah, well, the last time I was homeless, it was well into October, and I was managing that I had an unheated garage I could get into to sleep. So, I mean, it was dry, but it was a very cold concrete floor.
I was so feral, even though I had jobs here and there. Like, it took me a long time to be able to sleep without a sweatshirt on. It was the weirdest thing because I was homeless for so long that I would always sleep with a sweatshirt on.
Yeah, you sleep in your clothes because it's
damn right. Warmth. long time. I'm terrible roommate. Sorry. Hey, Doc.
I is posting a linky in the private chat.
Oh, hi, Doc.
Oh, bollocks. Fuck off. There you go. There's some photos there.
Okay, yep.
Which some of you will have seen. These were just like in the first couple of weeks because I was trying to record what the hell was happening.
Well, I'm only getting one photo here.
Oh, there's, I don't know, about 20, I think.
Yeah, it won't let me like move to view the other ones. It's just stuck on the one.
Oh, you must be doing it wrong.
I'm going to look, but I'm going to have to go out and come back.
So I only did one night in the forest, thankfully, because it started raining the following day, but
Yeah. Well, at least you got a roof over your head and you've got food.
yeah, a lot of rice.
Yeah, well, not great, but keep you going day to day. I just hope that you can find something that you can get some more money coming in.
The thing is, you still can't hear the noise that's going on right now, and it's 5:15 a.m. and it's loud as hell. It really is.
Are people partying or?
This happens every single night. Between, it's worse between about 2 a.m. and 7 a.m. That's when these people go home.
When do bars close? Or they don't?
Clubs are supposed to, the latest they can stay open is 3 a.m.
Wow.
So this is what confused the hell out of me when I moved here, because I couldn't understand what the hell is happening. Where are all these people laughing, shouting, fighting, and it's every single night. And I still don't understand it totally. I'm over, well, below me is a takeaway, which is, that's part of this building. The takeaway is the front facing part of it. And to get to where I am, you have to go through the secret alley and what have you. So what I think it is, I can hear people ordering food and what have you downstairs. There's also a takeaway next door. I can hear that. But that still doesn't explain to me how between 2 a.m. and 7 a.m. there are so many people shouting and swearing and fighting.
Well, college kids, you know, they don't have chaperones anymore, and some people don't know how to act.
But you see, because it's a takeaway, you would think the voices would change because customers aren't going to spend 5 hours in a takeaway. But it's the same voices. So I thought I was next door to a pub.
Yeah, I know that's what you had been saying early on. That was a pub on the other side.
Yeah, because you can hear the fighting. I can hear them being thrown against the walls. But I'm not next to a pub. It's the weirdest thing. I'm surrounded by pubs, so you do hear things in the distance, but there's nothing actually next door to me.
That's really strange.
In those pictures that you sent, it was like the second picture. There's kind of like a Google 3D view, and you see this block of buildings, and then you see this kind of opening with some white windows between the buildings. Is that the area you're talking about? Okay, never mind.
I'm trying to see what you're seeing.
Oh, this bottle was a bad idea.
Well, for me, the ignore the first logo, but one picture, photo number 1, 2, 3, 4 shows a green door to the right of the photograph.
Oh, so you live beyond the green door?
Yeah, the green door is the entrance to the secret alleyway.
And for anybody who's into 1970s porn, you know that's beyond the green door.
Yep, I got the reference.
You said it first. I got real quiet. I was like, oh, I'm not supposed to know that.
What was her name? She was Marilyn's Chambers. She was the model for the Ivory Snow commercials, I think. Something like that. It was very scandalous in the day. There was a great line from the movie. It was the most memorable thing about it.
Oh, that's hilarious.
She's having oral sex with this guy. He's down on her, and she grabs his head, pulls it up, and says, "Mind if I smoke while you eat?" And then proceeds to light a cigarette. Never mind. It was very impressionable when I was 18.
Is that Purple? Did you give your cursing warning out?
Yep.
At the beginning. Is that where cock smoker came from? No.
Personally, I don't like to go down on smokers. They always taste bitter.
That's discriminate towards cigarette smokers, and as their lawyer,
It's not discrimination. It's just a preference.
Bigot.
That is one good thing about vegetarians. They tend to be very mild.
I couldn't do it. I'm sorry. I'm marinating pork ribs right now. I couldn't do it. I couldn't do it.
Are penises basically a fruit because they have their seeds on the inside? Sorry, that was really bad, wasn't it?
No, it's applicable.
Well, I'm not going to explain that one. There's an old saying, she can't have a baby in her throat. So you can't necessarily eat it. Damn it. Are we going down that alley?
I already did on Twitter a couple of days ago.
I've never heard that one before. That's very funny.
When I was 14, my dad noticed that, I was hanging out with girls, and one day he grabbed me and he was like, gave me the best advice I'd ever heard in my life. He told me to my face, women can't have babies in their throat. Like, he was clever. And then he walked away and watched my brain just go. That's back when
I had a cousin who was a number of years older than me, and he got his girlfriend pregnant and ended up having to marry her literally at a shotgun wedding down in Texas. This is early 70s. And what he told me down in those days down there, I asked him very naively, why are you getting married? And he says the reason I'm getting married is because you should never wear socks in the sand. And it took me months to figure out what the hell that meant.
When I was a kid, my dad used to always say, if you shake it more than twice, you're just playing with it. It's talking about, peeing after you pee.
Uh-huh.
See, those politically, incorrect statements are getting phased out. My dad was an electrical engineer. He worked for NASA. He had all these crazy titles, but he was really a hillbilly. In his heart of heart, he was a hillbilly, and he would say some of the craziest things. I still, to this day, on hot days, I say, man, it's hotter in here than a Mississippi whorehouse. Still to this day.
Mississippi what?
Whorehouse.
Oh, okay. The song
I said it in a video one time during the summer.
Well, there's nothing wrong with a saying like that. I don't know why people get upset about that. So what? Mississippi's a hot place, and I kind of figure it probably does have some, brothels and stuff like that.
My pops was 42, almost 43 when I was born. So he came from a different planet, a different world. So he would say things that, worlds that don't even exist anymore. Because we were from two completely different generations. I mean, like day and night. To that generation, smoking weed was the worst thing on earth. To my dad, weed was a type A drug. He didn't care if it was legal. He didn't care. He would always tell me, like, in my day, we just didn't do things like that.
Well, I mean, you saw the propaganda films they put out in the 60s about it.
Exactly. But my mom was 14 years younger, and she would puff here and there, because she was from a different generation where they smoked pot, It's crazy. But propaganda works. I say that all the time. If you say something over and over and over again, anything can become the truth if you get enough people to believe it.
Sure. It's the whole basis of the Republican Party today. It's their only strategy is to lie long enough and they'll believe it.
I had to stop watching it because I'm watching my television like, oh, no one's going to believe that. Do you know every time, what's her name? I always say it wrong. Marjorie Greene Taylor?
Marjorie Taylor Greene, yeah.
Damn it. Marjorie Taylor Greene. I can't stand her. She literally makes my skin crawl.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
She keeps getting fined for the bullshit she says, but the fines are so piddly compared to her, what she gets, so.
Oh, she is pulling the Trump line through and through, so she is well funded.
Did you see the little ad, TV type ad that she's made recently?
No, when I see her face, I either scroll past or change the channel because I can't stand her that much.
I'm pretty sure it's her, because there's a lot of nut jobs over there. But my mate Hal Sparks was showing us this video, and it was so ludicrous because I think it is the same woman. The premise of this video is she's got this really super high-powered rifle, this big fucking thing, and there's a car in the distance driving past with socialism written on it. It's a brand new car, and she shoots socialism.
Oh no, that's not MTG. That's some other babe who's running against AOC, I believe.
Oh, F. Compelled unbeliever. That's a beautiful loophole. I like it.
I get them confused because there's so many crazies in the world right now.
Okay, so I've seen like, you know, people will put that on Twitter. I scroll right past it. I can't. That whole side makes my blood pressure go up.
I think Marjorie Taylor Greene had a commercial that she was shooting beer bottles that had labels on them or whatever the shit was.
Yeepers. I think because I saw I was scrolling through Twitter and I saw her holding a gun. I was like, nope, not today. Not today. Matt Getz, aka Beavis. I can't stand him either. He looks like Beavis grown up.
Yes, he does.
Tell me I'm fucking wrong. Oh, this is what our country has come to.
They keep saying that he's going down, you know, with this child trafficking thing.
Not fast enough. They need. I want his. You know what? They should have his trial on the Capitol steps.
I don't care if they take a year to do it, just as long as they do it. I realize that they got to build a perfect case to take down somebody. The bigger they are, the more perfect the case has to be.
No, I'm from the
also part of them drawing it out is, you know, that they can get evidence that will incriminate other people who were involved.
Yeah.
I'm just tired of all of them. They're just, you know, there used to be a line. I'm sorry. There used to there was honor amongst thieves, and these guys have no honor. There used to be rules to thieving and pimping and all the stuff that they're doing, and they're literally destroying America right in front of everyone's face. On purpose. To me, it's on purpose. Like, you can't constantly go against the people and expect them to listen to you.
Did you see this latest video that's going around the last couple of days? This right-wing vomit. Charlie Kirk is doing some kind of a presentation, and some guy in the audience gets up and just playing out acid and says, "When do we get to start using the guns against the liberals?" And you know, Charlie Kirk's smart enough politically to know that he has to, you know, kind of steer away from that, but he still answers it. Basically says, "Yeah, pretty soon." You know, it was.
They're not going to do anything. The gravy Navy would be put down within 15 minutes.
The gravy Navy?
Well, you know, all those guys, those really heavy set guys wearing tactical gear.
Yeah.
Barely fits. Their gun holsters, they look small on them. That same gun would be down to my knees. You know, I call them the Gravy Navy because they're a bunch of wannabe chumps who talk big. It's the people that threaten people on Twitter or threaten someone's life. They would never do it to someone's face. And if they did, they would be like taken down, you know.
Kirk is a piece of shit. He's a very piece of shit.
Bobert is scary.
What's going on is that January 6th could happen and nothing's happening to these people.
I think about that all the time. Do you know, I got into it with somebody on Twitter who didn't like what I said about Kamala Harris, but I was comparing it to how people of color get treated. And January 6th is kind of like every day if you live on a certain part of town. So I don't know. I don't see anything good coming from the right at all right now, except for them trying to destroy what's left of America. And all of this is avoiding the fact, one thing that nobody wants to mention is that, like, we're broke. California has the third largest economy in the world. We're broke. California is broke.
You've got the usual lies and bullshit, but you've also they've gone into overdrive with the grift because Rudy's latest grift. Oh, fuck him. I'm not even going to go there. But you mentioned Kirk. He's on Dave Rubin's latest grift, which is his new social media site called Locals. They're all creating their own social media sites because Trump has done it. So they're all copying him, you know. Yeah, come here for your free speech. That kind of shitty grift.
I'm just laughing because they are the most pompous assholes they're just blatantly robbing their people at this point.
Kirk is a very, very nasty piece of shit. He came over here with, I forget her name, but the Turning Point people, when they were opening or starting Turning Point UK, you know, the group of people who tell lies to young people in college and what have you. And this meeting, this event was attended by some of our Conservative MPs, which was worrying. But Charlie Kirk stood there and told the audience, whenever you're speaking about Jeremy Corbyn, always refer to him as the anti-Semite anti-Corbyn.
Yikes.
Because this is what they do. They always have to do that name calling thing. And the lady who was with him, the other Turning Point member, said, yeah, call him Jeremy Corbyn the Jew hater. And that guy got dragged through the dirt in the 2019 election because all this bullshit about him being an anti-Semite was being thrown around, all because of the lies.
They've turned third grade playground name calling behavior into an art form of branding.
Yeah, well, your lot have been doing that for a long time.
They hate a brand.
Yeah, because people are malleable now. They
your lot have been
doing
it for quite a long time, but it's only in the last 5 years that our lot have started doing this. And
well, it's because people believe what they hear and they're easily controlled. People do what they're told.
They're doing it over here because this lot in charge of us are the most criminal fucking fraudsters known to man. And they've learned that it works in America. You just lie your asses off.
That's why I earlier said the thing about being a pimp. It's just they keep on just saying something and expecting people to do it, and they beat you if you don't. That's basically what goes on in America. Because they'll just, if you don't pay your bills, they'll send the cops. If you don't do this, you know, so you comply.
Yeah, did you hear Elon Musk going off unhinged about the proposed billionaire tax and telling people that once they've got my money, they'll be coming after yours? Even though the proposed tax only applies if you have over $3 billion in assets or an income of over $750,000 a year.
Oh yeah, the enjoyment people seem to get protecting billionaires is just stupefying.
Oof, I'm safe. I'm safe on that one. I was kidding. I'm nowhere near those numbers at all. Tax them. Excuse me.
Yeah, people don't, in your country, people don't, or a lot of people don't understand your tax codes.
They do, Mage. They do.
They don't.
Oh, no, sorry. I was reading Mage.
Mage saying voters have the memory of a goldfish.
It's actually a pet peeve of mine in certain communities.
I remember this one from a few years back when your right-wing lot were telling their fans, oh, you're going to be charged such a percentage now on your income. And they didn't understand at all that that's just not how it works. It's once you earn over a certain amount, you'll be charged that. Up until that amount, you're just like everybody else. But they lie about these things.
Well, you know, I think mostly they're lying about it. I think some of them don't really have the concept that there are people who live on less than $100,000 a year.
I actually think about this all the time, is that they do not know how the other half lives. They have no clue.
I mean, no, actually, you mean the other 85%.
Yeah.
Like I said, I feel fortunate for everything I've been through, and I could lose everything I have tomorrow, but I know for a fact that these people do not think of people who live on like $5 a day or less.
When I was solvent, I was making 50 to 60K a year at a time when the average American family income was about 35. And so as a single person who owned a house making 50, 60K, I was in fucking heaven, I was
Oh
able to
yeah.
put money away for retirement and all this kind of stuff. But man, it just all disappears fast if the wrong shit happens to you. I had a heart attack without insurance, medical insurance.
Yep.
And it started the downhill trend that I could not reverse no matter what I did.
Same with even my grandmother. She had a lot of money, and she gave massive loans to grandchildren who didn't deserve it. But she needed 24-hour a day care for the last 7 years of her life. And that took a massive chunk of her money. I mean, an obscene amount of money. She was well taken care of, but it cost a lot of money. And I don't know how the average person would ever be able to afford that. And she was lucky because she barely had enough money.
Yeah, well, medical debt is the number one cause of personal bankruptcy in the U.S. And something like 85% of the campaigns on GoFundMe are for people to pay medical bills.
When COVID, excuse me, when COVID kicked off, and people were being put on furlough and what have you, some people were going to have to, for the first time in their lives, experience universal credit, which is our benefit system, which is not a good place to be. And I thought, well, you know what? All these people who think that it's easy and that they just throw lots of money at you for free are going to have a bit of a wake-up call, a bit of a reality check, and maybe things will change. But it hasn't, because you've still got, now to this day, you've still got people repeating the tropes from decades ago about how the unemployed sit on their asses all day doing nothing with their mobile phones and their flat screen TVs. I mean,
Well, that would be me.
yeah, but as if having a mobile phone, and what other kind of TV are you going to fucking have in 2021? But they're still repeating that garbage that they were told 20 years ago.
Are you Ronald Reagan's nightmare or what?
No, I'm retired and getting back what I put in for 50 years.
No, Ronald Reagan is the one that really pushed the welfare, the welfare queen trope.
Yep. Sloth Girl saying couples that have been married for 40 years are getting divorced so that neither one of them will be stuck with the medical bills and end up homeless when the other dies.
That's awful.
Yeah, I've read of several cases of that.
It took them 7 years to crush me once the heart attack happened and stuff. It took 7 years of fighting to keep my house until I lost the battle. And I'm not about to blame my father, but the final straw was of my own doing, because I quit looking for work and I moved in with him to take care of him for the last year and a half of his life, and it cost me everything. And like I said, I'm not blaming him, but that's reality of what happened.
Yeah.
And but it's shit happens. Life throws you a curveball. Sometimes it's just not.
I talk about that all the time.
Elon Musk made $36 billion in a single day and then bitched about them raising taxes on the rich.
Yeah.
See, he's another one I either muted or unfollowed because I got tired of hearing a billionaire bitch about things.
Well, I don't see his stuff directly. I only see it when somebody I follow retweets him.
I followed him for a long time, and then when I just, the musings of billionaires, excuse me, they're not impressive at all. They're not at all.
Well, Elon Musk, all he is a hype man. That's
Exactly.
his only real talent is to hype things up and get other people to throw money into the pot.
Yeah, and I get in trouble when I say that. He's done one clever, good thing. He invented PayPal, and that made him a shit ton of money. And PayPal is awesome. Just saying.
Yeah.
But apart from that, all he's really done is funded other people to do shit. He's not the scientist, inventor type that a lot of people like to think he is.
Yeah.
His cars are,
the Tesla motor vehicle is the best damn car on the road.
they're everywhere. I was just about to say,
yeah, but
where I
again,
live,
he did not invent a single component of that car. He just said, here's an idea and gave it to some team to make it work.
Yeah, and who was doing that before him? Nobody.
Yeah, I know. Thomas Edison did the same thing.
I don't think he had the idea.
his cars are everywhere here.
And who invented the graphical user interface on a computer? Steve Jobs? No, but he put it to use. It's not. You don't have to be the inventor, the guy who designs the chip. You got to be the guy who is able to put it together and make it happen. That is where the entrepreneurial spirit lies in America today with the kind of technology we have. Nobody is the person who invents things. It's a team. It's always a team.
My dad
who puts it together into something that works and people want.
That's okay, and that's I agree with. My problem is that the way that there are a lot of people who believe that he actually is the inventor guru who's come up with all these ideas. That's which he hasn't. He's paid other people to do their ideas. He's given them money.
I don't doubt
which
that
is
at
fine.
all.
There's nothing wrong with that. It's just how a lot of people seem to worship him like he's invented this shit.
Yeah.
And also his battery packs
to make his ideas happen. Like the Tesla vehicle, everybody wants an electric car, and he wanted one too. But he said, okay, if we do this and this and this and this, we can have it. You go out and make that happen for me. He built these shingles for houses that are actually solar panels.
Yes,
they haven't become radically popular, but they are gaining strength. And
we have.
This is fucking amazing.
Sorry, Jenny. I'm like dying to jump in because I live in yuppie land, and my neighbor has a Tesla battery pack in his house. Okay, on what day did I send you that that video of the spider purple? Was that Monday? I don't know.
I don't know what day it was.
It had to have been Monday. On Monday, we had a rolling blackout. I left. I texted my neighbor. I was like, how is it to be the only person with power on the block? He took pictures of every room he had lights on because he had his Tesla battery even when the breaker was taken down.
And it spreads because of his Tesla battery. A local company here in Wisconsin, Generac, who's people who build all these generators that you see Generac compute or generators all over the country nowadays. They have the big generators that your house, the power goes down, it fires up your house. Now they're building a battery to compete against the Tesla battery, and they tie it all into their solar system that they're selling and the generator that they're selling, so that you don't ever have to worry about power going down.
Good. I want to go move in the woods because I'm tired of living near the city.
So these kind of guys do, I don't like Elon Musk. Yes, no, he's an absolutely repulsive human being. But, geez, nobody likes Steve Jobs. He was a prick.
My dad worked for Rocketdyne in the early 90s, and he has at least 6 or 7 patents with a group of people of satellites that are still floating around to this very day. But he was a part of a team of people, His name is on a long list of people that worked on certain projects. And that's something to be proud of. It's nothing to wag your finger at,
Hey, Isaiah.
I was waiting for it. So all I'm saying is I'm not pro Elon Musk, but he makes some pretty cool stuff. Edison was a complete a-hole, and he probably beat the hell out of everybody. But if it wasn't for that guy, you know.
Yep. He was another one. People say he stole ideas. No, he paid for their patents.
Let
And
me
put it
tell
together
you,
into, again, a product that people wanted.
there's a guy that I really really respect. I used to had a painting business, and he was my competitor. And this guy, he honestly worked better than I did. He worked harder, but I had better equipment. I would get other contracts. It's not that I drove him out of business, but I kind of drove him out of business. And because he worked hard, when my pops passed, I gave him a job. But I cornered the market because now he's doing the same thing, but like I'm getting money for it too. Capitalism sucks, but that's just the way it is sometimes, you know?
And that's why I've always been broke, because, ethics are a problem for me. I had a lot of opportunities that I could have made a lot more money if I'd only been willing to mistreat people.
Well, for me, I never mistreated people because I worked alone. I would just outcompete them or outbid them. I would bid so low that they couldn't compete with me. Yes, I have never forget Wolf 359 written on a practice head because I'm obsessed with Star Trek.
Ooh. Ooh. You don't play little games, do you, Will? That sounded weird.
I wish. No, honestly, I'm going to tell you, I don't have the time because it's during the summer, I have oodles of time, but during the school year, I don't have much time.
Just before I noticed Purple postal a thing about this stream, I was checking some emails, which is something I don't do very often, and there was one that said, "Oh, this is coming out on PC." Now, Star Trek Fleet Command is a mobile game, which I got really into last year, I think. And it's just come out on PC, which I wasn't aware of. So I was downloading that and catching up. The fuckers had blown my space station up and my ships, so I had to attend to that. But it's really cool now that it's on PC, and it's just a thing you can dive into for an hour, half an hour a day or something.
That's awesome.
That's cool.
I have surgers that I yell at instead. I need new hobbies. I'm a little bit more busy because Isaiah's homeschooling. And it's been a challenging year. We're in junior high without all the awkwardness.
I do have sympathy, for all the parents who were thrown into homeschooling when they hadn't had time to prepare for it. I don't think I could have, handled that very well.
Imagine someone walking up to you and being like, "Okay, this is how you fly a plane. Power, roll, pitch, and yaw." And then they sit you in the seat of a plane and say, "Go fly the plane."
Well, with my ex, we actually looked into homeschooling. So, I spent several months researching it to get an idea of what would be involved to do it. So that's why I can, really appreciate the people who just wound up getting stuck doing it with no time to prepare.
I have a cousin who married an evangelical, and she has always homeschooled her children. I will never talk trash about them ever again. Ever again. Because although they're really hardcore evangelical Christians and they're weirdos, like her children are geniuses. So they're like, that's a credit to the teacher,
Yeah. I think one of the biggest problems with homeschooling, though, is the things that the kids do not get exposed to. Because, how prepared are they going to be to really go off and, live on their own and get a job when they're going to be surprised by so many things about culture that they had never heard of?
So on the flip side of that, I have an ex-girlfriend who was homeschooled for a long time, and she is She's like the head old lady of a certain motorcycle club here in Southern California. And she's a total blonde hair, blue eyed, like Lillian Munster type. And now she's fully tattooed, fully part of a motorcycle club. It's crazy to see the transformation, but she was very sheltered. And then she got exposed to motorcycles and cars, and you couldn't keep her on the farm after that. So there is that like 50-50 trade-off where you need social exposure. You need to be around other people that are different than you.
Okay, and scroll, huh?
That was weird. I didn't know we had such a thing in the UK. I was just looking at the Twitters, and trending was the name Fiona Bruce. She presents Question Time, which is a political thing, which was on last night. I'm going to watch it later on iPlayer. But I clicked on it, and it's a completely different Fiona Bruce. And she is, I didn't know we had one of these. She is, quote, UK Prime Minister's Special Envoy for Freedom of Religion or Belief.
Is that Ministry of Dark Arts?
That it's a verified account. It's a real thing. I didn't know we had. What does she do? Who knows?
Purple, if those were my neighbors, I would walk up to them and be like, "You're some sick mother effers."
I guarantee you they're not supporting all religions.
That's what I'm saying. That it's a scary title. That's a scary title.
Yep.
That doesn't sound like anything positive. Hey, chill out, man. Chill out.
Freedom of religion or belief. Blimey. When did we get one of these?
I love this one. I absolutely love
it. In the government that sets up an office of the office of freedom from religion.
Yeah.
I've been saying this lately. Like, why can't we just go back to leaving people alone? What happened to like people being able to be left alone?
Wow, that is really scary. This is the UK. We should not be having such a thing.
I don't care what you believe, who you're doing, what you're doing. I don't care. Just don't hurt people or animals. And I don't know why it's become so complicated.
Yeah, it's a pretty simple rule. Don't involve anyone who hasn't consented.
Exactly. See, Purple and I, you and I have solved the world's problems. There you go. Leave people the hell alone.
Well, I think that is part of the biggest problem that we face worldwide is not leaving people alone, and to have all these religiously drugged zealots around the world. I don't care what religion they're pushing, but insisting that people who don't believe in religion believe in their religion, and that people who believe in another religion believe in their religion. I'm just sick of religion, fucking church organizations. I don't care. They all suck. They all got to go away. All of them.
I agree. I have to check my Mormon neighbors all the time. Every once in a while, I just have to be like, I don't believe in any of that, but I respect you.
Well, all of the Bible-based religions, are really, they're all set up around making everyone conform. That.
Well, and so is Islam, and so is Buddhism. I don't know. So is Jewish.
Islam's under the Bible-based stuff too.
So I have to get this off my chest, and because I'm here, I know that this person won't see it. On Facebook, I'm friends with somebody who is African American, and he married into an Arabic family, and he's become very conservative over the past 10 years. And I was scrolling through Facebook, which you should never do, and he changed his profile picture to "I stand with Dave Chappelle."
Oh.
That's what I said. I said, who the F does that? And so I couldn't, you know, I don't get political on Facebook. I don't tell people anything at all, because quite honestly, it's not their business, especially someone that I went to high school with, which is a long time ago, you know. But it was so strange to me how conservative certain communities have become.
Yeah, I've completely given up on Facebook. But Paige, this is one of the situations that I have to acknowledge that your mileage may vary. I do pretty well with very minimal social interaction, but I know for other people, you know, like the lockdowns were really devastating, that they didn't, you know, psychologically, when they couldn't get out to see people. I know it took a pretty heavy toll on some people.
It took it on me at first. I couldn't take it because I am such a creature of routine and habit. I was cut away from my entire support group and I had to like start from zero. So it was kind of devastating at first.
Well, see, if you don't have a routine in the first place, it can never get disrupted.
Even I didn't realize how important the donut shop from my house was until I didn't have it anymore.
Well, and that was the thing for most people that was so difficult, you know, was those little routines like getting coffee every morning. You know, those kind of rituals missing from their day were just really tearing some people apart.
There's a thrift store. In not this video that I came out with today, but the one before that, in the beginning of my video, you can see me driving down the driveway into the parking lot. I love that place. The security guard was waving to me because he knows my car. If I go like less than 2 weeks going there, when I come back, they're like, "Where were you? Were you okay? Were you sick?" they're in my bubble. Those are my people.
This is now hurting me.
But that is my sad human interaction that I have with people, you know.
I've not been to Poundland now for about a month.
Oh, really?
I'm not saying this is a boycott, because they couldn't give a shit about me. But the last 3 times I went, they didn't have any bread or coffee. And I thought, fuck you, I'll get tea. So I bought a bag of 100 tea bags, because I'd rather drink lots of tea. I'm not going to pay more than £1 for my beverages.
I'm like that too, in a way. I'm not snobbish about coffee. I'm not snobbish about what brand I'm eating.
The coffee that I like from Poundland, it's called New York coffee, and obviously it's not from New York. And it's one of these packets in which you get 12 individual sachets, if you know what I mean. So they've got the coffee and some whitener and some sugar, whatever, and it's really nice, and it's only £1. But they ran out of that, and they ran out of my bread as well. You know, empty shelves. UK, Stool, Britannia.
Okay, so I'm gonna send a picture to Purple. Speaking of empty shelves, I don't know if they did this on purpose, but in a grocery store I go to, they had bags of chips that are usually filled to the top. They were filled halfway. Oh, whoops! I put it in the wrong group. Damn it! Everyone in that group is gonna wonder why I just posted a bag of chips, and I'm not gonna say a word.
There was a good photo I saw on Twitter the other day. Because our shelves are even more empty than yours, thanks to the B word, supermarkets, as you know, have their ways to make the shelves look more full than they actually are. But they've reached a point now where they can't even do that, because the goods are not getting to the supermarkets or the shops. So they've got these sheets of plastic, like giant curtains, that go over the shelves, on which are pictures, or it's a picture of shelves with food on them.
I've seen that.
I saw that too.
Yeah, and the cardboard prints in the trays, so it doesn't look like the veggie trays are empty.
Here, someone would have put
Okay,
graffiti
Stool.
on there.
Mhm.
I was going to explain something to you about the tea bags. See,
Although we're not talking about teabagging. That's a completely
No, no.
different subject.
the ones you bought at Poundland.
Mhm.
See, what they mean by New York tea is that it was boxed in York less than a year ago. So that's what makes it New York tea.
That's actually the coffee, New York coffee. And I'll tell you something. I love cheap ass coffee because sometimes it's better than the expensive stuff.
Is it instant?
Yeah, it's just cheap ass shit.
My ex-wife's dad got me hooked on instant coffee.
There's nothing wrong with it.
Stuff.
If you can get the right stuff, it's gorgeous.
Oh yeah.
Hey, Will, Folgers Instant
is the best stuff ever.
That's what I have.
Is the
what
best
is that,
stuff
Jenny?
ever.
What's it called?
I can smell it.
Brand in instant crystal coffee.
I can smell it. The second you said it, I can smell it.
Folders.
The best.
Folgers. Actually, I saw that picture of your New York coffee bag, and it looks familiar, like a Folgers owned script and stuff. That it may be.
I was hooked on Folgers. I love that stuff.
Folgers brand.
Folgers.
Yeah. Paige, I go with this too. That I considered COVID to actually have a lot of nice advantages, and one of them was that I had a blanket excuse for not accepting any invitations for 2 years.
I'm a complete agoraphobe, though. I don't want to leave that.
I got my booster shot today.
Awesome.
Yeah, I just found out that I can get mine too, so I'll have to set a time for next week to go to my clinic to get it.
Absolutely, sloth girl. Folgers. The best part of waking up is Folgers in your cup.
I called and I expected, to have to wait a couple of weeks for an appointment to get the shot. Because that's what it was like before, for the original get through. And they said, can you come in a half an hour? Well, yeah. And half an hour later, I was getting shot.
Shot. Awesome. Hey, B. Yeah, no, I buy the generic tea bags myself.
The tea bags that I'm on now, like I said, that I'm now in a position where when I go to Poundland, I get really angry and refuse to buy anything that's more than £1. I know that's bad, but it winds me up. And so for this box of 100 tea bags, it's actually not cheap. Well, it is cheap as shit, but it's a very well-known, famous brand, Thai Fu, which is kind of everybody in the UK knows that. So it's not just some random shit that's been swept up off the floor, and it's really quite pleasant. You don't have to pay a lot of money to have something that tastes nice.
Oh, our dollar stores have full grocery stores in them, where you can get you could get lettuce, you can get all kinds of stuff.
It's surprising the brands that they have too. I was at a dollar store, the Dollar Tree here locally, and they had this. I love oyster crackers. I'm an oyster cracker junkie since I was a child. And there's this one brand. It's called Westminster. I don't know. It's not typical. I've never seen it in a grocery store, but goddamn it, Dollar Tree had them. I couldn't believe it. And they were only $1 because it's Dollar Tree. And so I bought like 10 of them because it's like you never find this stuff. I actually had to special order them from the company once, like 10 years ago or something, when I wanted some. And it took forever to get them, and all of a sudden here they are at Dollar Tree.
We have so at all of our like Chinese restaurants, they'll give you almond cookies, which I thought were like the greatest things on earth. Okay.
Yeah.
At our dollar store, they sell them.
Yep.
I wait until Tuesday until the truck comes, and I go there on Tuesday morning and get as many as I can. I'm that guy who will buy half a shelf.
Yeah, well, now the Dollar Trees have refrigerator and freezer cases.
Yep.
So they're even having things, like lunch meats and frozen dinners.
Yeah. Same here. Our 99-cent stores have always been like that, but now they sell things that are like $10, or they'll sell Pepsi for $1.29. You know, it's still the 99-cent store, but it's not like the Dollar Tree where everything
Well,
is $1.
and Dollar Tree has announced that they're going to have to be breaking their price point.
Oh,
So they're going to start having things priced at $1.25 and $1.50, and some items going up to $5.
you know what? Times are hard. We like in my town, we on Facebook, we kind of promote different businesses like, hey, this place has been here for 30 years. Go eat there because these people need your business, you know. So if they need to charge people an extra 20 cents to keep their employees there, I don't think there's anything wrong with that.
Oh, damn it. You're making me hungry. And I now want to go to Poundland, which will be opening in a couple of hours' time. They might have some bread.
That's the one thing that picks me off about COVID is that nothing's open late at all anymore. Our restaurants close at like 6 or 7 at night around here.
Oh, you wouldn't
Yep.
think COVID was even a thing over here. In England, Scotland and Wales take it seriously, but in England, everybody's just an idiot.
I miss having 24-hour grocery stores. You know, I liked going grocery shopping at 2 a.m. when the only other people in there were the employees stocking the shelves and nobody bothered me.
Whenever I would drive to Vegas, there's a Walmart that I would go to that's like 200 miles from my house. I miss shopping at that place at 1:30 in the morning just because their prices were so much cheaper out in the middle of the desert compared to where I live. I wouldn't buy, like perishables, but I would buy all the stuff I needed because it was literally $10 to $15 cheaper. So yeah, around here, everything closes early now. Everything. And it's because of COVID, but it's also because no one's working. So most places don't even have the staff.
There's something that I've had my eye on in Poundland. I'm definitely going to go there now. I think it opens in about 2 hours. I don't think you guys have Weetabix, do you, over there? Do you know what Weetabix is?
Is that a class that Harry Potter was in?
Weetabix. Yeah, that's what it is, Will. It's a cereal. It's a proper big brand. It's not just cheap shit. But for some reason, at Poundland, for £3, you can get a box of 36 Weetabix. Okay. In normal shops, you'll get 24 for about £3.50. That's kind of good, you see. That's why I've turned into such a fucking... what have I become?
I had a really depressed friend that used to say that all the time because he worked at a movie theater for like 15 years. And he would always say, "What has my life become?" He was just really depressed and hated himself. You know what, Neil? Where I live, it's kind of paradise, but I have survivor's guilt because everybody acts like everything is okay, and I know the world is on fire around me, but there's still like, white picket fences. I'm waving to my neighbors. It's a strange thing when I watch the news.
One sad thing is because Poundland. Shut up about Poundland. It's a 5-minute walk away from where I am. And if I set out without my Poundland plastic carrier bag, if I'm at Poundland, I'll turn around and come all the way back and get it and go back to Poundland, because otherwise I'll have to pay 25 pence for a new bag. That's how shit things are.
That too, I'll go off on the clearance aisle. I still do. Heck yeah, Mage.
Yeah. Actually, Mage, this is the reason that Sloth Girl and I have 50-inch TVs. Because I was in Walmart at 1 o'clock in the morning while they were cleaning out the back room. And they rolled out this pallet full of TVs that were like last year's model, covered in an inch of dust. And they slapped a tag on the pallet for $100 each. So I got two 50-inch TVs for $100 each.
That's awesome.
Yeah, considering I'd paid $150 for a 32-inch only about a year before that.
Oh, heck yeah.
Gee, I only got a 20-inch TV.
Aww.
That's okay. My room's so small, it's almost like a big screen TV.
You just reminded me. I need to go get glasses. I have to get my eyes checked again.
Well, Sloth Girl isn't allowed to upgrade anymore because that is literally the biggest TV that would fit in the entertainment center I built for her. To get a bigger one in there, she would have to lose an entire rack of shelving on one side, and I'd have to reconstruct the whole thing.
I went into a Walmart, and I swear there were TVs there right at the entrance that were like 80-inch TVs, 80 fucking inch.
I've seen 75-inch ones. So
I've seen 100-inch. I had a good friend where he in California we have huge vaulted ceilings. I mean, like just in my house, it's I think 15 feet high, huge vaulted ceilings. And my friend is very successful in life, has a giant house, and when you walk in his house, he has this gaudy 100-inch television. And I'll never forget, I walked in his house and he was watching Purple Rain. And I walked in and I was like, this is the most ghetto SHIT ever, because they're literally sitting across the entire living room because the television is so huge. It's huge.
My well-to-do brother and sister-in-law have six TVs that are no less than 42-inch. Every bedroom's got one. The living room has one. The dining room has one, and they got one downstairs where they don't even have like a rec room. It's just down there and it operates so that when you're doing your laundry, for example, you can watch TV if you want. It's like, how can you spend that kind of money on that? This TV's not worth it.
I got a 60-inch on a Black Friday, like 4 years ago. And it's really amazing when I watch sports, because if I sit at a certain angle, it's like I'm effing there. It's the television. It's huge. And it's a 60-inch. And right here, I have a 32-inch, and it seems tiny compared to the television in the living room.
There's a big 40-something inch one upstairs from me, which has got my name on it. I can have it if I want, because I do collect things now, but it's too heavy, and it would be nice to steal, except I wouldn't be able to watch TV on it because there's nothing to put into it. There's no aerial or cable or anything.
Oh, no hookup for a signal of any kind, huh?
No.
You could use it for a monitor for your computer.
Yeah, I could do if I had a lead, or if I wanted to be fancy schmancy, because it has the TV has Wi-Fi built in, so I could screencast from my machine via my phone to the TV. But that's just MacGyvering a little bit too much.
Well, actually, that's what I'm doing. Is that I hardly ever watch TV. I use the 50-inch TV for my computer monitor, so I can sit my recliner 6 feet back from the TV.
I have decided I do not like 4K TV. That it's so sharp. I mean, you're watching some TV show and they got some close-up of some guy. You can see every goddamn booger in their nose. I don't want to see people that well. I'm
actually kind of wondering if we haven't reached the point that the video screens are higher resolution than our actual eyes.
My 4K. Sorry, Jenny, go ahead.
They've gotten high enough resolution that you can see every fucking detail in a person's skin and stuff, and I just don't want to see that much of.
Yeah, unless you're doing a nature documentary about insects, why do you need that kind of magnification?
So that's why I wear my sunglasses in most of my videos, because I have a 4K camera, And I went back and watched a lot of my videos, and I'm like, you look so high they could tie a string on your foot and walk you around like a balloon. And so I wear my glasses because even when I'm not high, I look high. And so I wear my glasses because my eyes are starting, I'm getting that Jay-Z droopy thing going on with my eyes. I'm getting that age. And so I wear my glasses in all my videos because my camera, Sony, if you want to send me another one, plug. This is an amazing camera. It's a 4K camera. I love this stupid thing. But my videos come out amazing.
Well, goddamn phones can shoot 4K now.
Oh, that reminds me, I need to upgrade they've been sending me this, like, why haven't you upgraded, you boomer, you dinosaur boomer? They were like shaming me for not upgrading. I like my phone.
I have a bottom of the line iPhone, the SE, because it's been stripped of all these other neat, cool things that all the others have. But it shoots 4K video, and I just can't believe how good it is.
That's
The
what I'm
quality, the
saying.
sharpness, it's just shocking.
I had I have a good friend who used to work for Apple. He was a programmer, and we talk every once in a while. We hadn't talked in a while. About a month ago, like 2 months ago, we were talking, and in the middle of the conversation, he asked me, he's like, why do you have such good resolution on your videos? He was basically saying, like, I know you're not technologically advanced. How do you have such good quality? And I told him, like, I bought a decent camera. I did a little research and got a decent camera a long time ago. I've had this camera for a while. It's like, that's the first generation. They're up to like the third or fourth generation by now.
Okay, well, folks, I can't really stay up this too long tonight. I actually still have crap I need to do before I can go to bed.
Fine.
I know.
Believe me, I'd rather not, but unfortunately, I didn't pay much attention this month, and I've got some things creeping up on deadlines.
Understandable.
Well, I've been awake all night, but nothing new there. And I have to stay awake. What time are we on? 6:15 in the morning. Have to stay awake for Poundland now because you lot have made me want stuff. And also, I've got an Amazon delivery today. So I'm waiting for the message to go to the supermarket, to the Amazon lockbox, which is called Luciano. They give them all people's names, which is weird.
That is weird.
To make it more user-friendly, apparently. So I've got to go to Luciano to collect my USB stick that I bought with Amazon's money because they refunded me something that they shouldn't have. And then I can do some more fixing of things with my machine because it's been driving me fucking nuts.
At least you've got a reliable way to get your deliveries now.
We'll see. We'll see. If it arrives, then I'll be happy. And the supermarket stays open until 9 p.m. So better than a post office that closes at 5.
Yikes.
Yeah.
Also, just a fun little fact. Somebody out there, I will not name names, but when I was bitching about my mic not working and I had to buy these things, I'd put them on my wish list. Somebody bought them for me. And I said, no, cancel it. It's not worth the hassle with Amazon. And I went out the next day and bought these in town. But that order with Amazon went through. I got all the messages. They were delivered to Luciano, the lockbox. If you don't collect it after 3 days, Amazon take it away and the person who bought it is refunded instantly. No hassling with Amazon, you know.
Okay, well, that's cool.
Oh, wow.
So for future reference, that's the easy way if you don't want to have to talk to Amazon, which is not a pleasant thing sometimes.
Yeah. Well, mostly you wind up sitting on hold for so long before you get to talk to anyone.
Customer service in general has died.
To be fair, when I was speaking to Amazon, you go to the contact page. I don't know what happens over there. They don't give a phone number. They just say, click this button.
Yeah.
And as soon as you've clicked it, you will get a phone call. Instantly, they phoned me. Thankfully, because over here anyway, most of the people who answer these phone calls or make them are in call centers that usually have nothing to do with the actual company, quite often in India. So there was a communication problem, which probably led to me getting 2 refunds for things that I never even received. Whatever. It worked out well for me anyway.
I always get the mouthy kid at Apple. They're arrogant on the Apple. The Apple people are arrogant. Oh, good times.
I'm gonna go.
Okay, well, we're going to wrap up here. So, Jenny, you want to plug anything before you go?
Nope.
Okay, how about you, Stool?
Nope.
Okay.
I
I'm
am
kind of afraid to ask Will, but go ahead.
If you didn't know, how's it going? I'm Godless Sewing from the Godless Sewing channel. Right
Hi.
now, I have a video up right now. You should go check it out. I made a crappy quilt that's behind me. That's just the beginning. I found a new addiction. If you want to get off of drugs, just start quilting. Great way to get off of drugs. And I made a fuzzy hat that I showed off earlier, and I did a tutorial on how to not follow instructions, on how, like a pirate, you should use them as guidelines. So that's Godless Sewing from the Godless Sewing channel. I had a better spiel, but every once in a while I get really, really, really stoned. So I sit here and just say nonsensical things. So in the end, go to the Godless Sewing channel, have a great night, and live your best life.
Yep, well, and in my current state, I'm not promising to do anything this weekend, so I don't know whether or not I'll be on the shills or show up anywhere else for that matter.
Oh, it's
So I'm
what
just
date is it?
well, technically Friday morning, but still actually Thursday night here. So
Yeah.
I'm just going to wrap this up by thanking all my Patreon contributors: Greg Hartwick, The Lavender Lady, Robert X, Ox, Junie the Apostate, Von Rick, and X from the Utah Outcasts. I appreciate them putting a bit of money into this channel for me each month, so that's not taking too much out of my pocket to keep doing this. And with that, I will bid you all a good night.
Good night, all.
Rock out with your clock out.